This is the Workplace Ninja podcast, coming to you live from our summit in Baden with highlights, insights, and interviews.
So, good afternoon in Baden at the Workplace Ninja Summit 2023?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, 20,000 then. That will be two-way long ahead. But we're back with a new talk about some topics, ASR, MAM, probably. Bring
Two
your
new
own
people.
Yeah. Harry disappeared as last time, but we have Peter back, and me, myself, and I still on the table, and two new people, Kenny, Kim.
Yes.
Kenny, who are you? Where you're from? What are you doing?
Well, I'm from Belgium. I like to drink beers. I like fast cars. I like to barbecue. I like to do these kind of conferences as a co-organizer, but also as a speaker. And I also like, to mix and mingle, have discussions, and drink beers, of course.
And fast cars. We saw a picture in the past few days. Inside joke.
Yeah, some stalkers.
Yeah. And beside you, who do we have? Kim?
Yeah, so I'm Kim Heyrmans. I'm also from Belgium. Second year attending the Workplace Ninja event. Second time a speaker as well. It's been an interesting conference so far. A lot of new things that we already seen from Microsoft. I think there is a good diversity here in regarding technology. So it's one of the top events to be at.
Definitely. And there is a sticker on your shirt. What is that? Where's that for?
It's the special edition shirt that I'm wearing this year. It's a joke from last year. They called me the muscle Strumpf. So this year I am the walking Strumpf. And when people find me, they can take a selfie and get some goodies.
Yeah, so if you just turn around a little bit to the camera, then people can see it also online.
Actually, the running joke is we try to put him on Twitter as much as possible. So maybe he will find a girlfriend.
Is that the reason? That's the reason behind it.
Yeah. I think Mirko next year, if he wants to do something like that again, he needs to put it in the keynote as well. Find a Smurf and tweet about it.
Yeah.
That's a good idea for next year. Yeah. But it is a few hours ago that you both did. I saw already in a picture passing by that you have a session. What was that session about?
It was a session about attack surface reduction rules in the security track. We basically went over all the specific ways on how you can configure them, how you implement them in the environment. Just to give people a good understanding based on our experience, where we hit the wall a few times already, and how we can prevent them from hitting that wall, and giving them some tips and tricks and helping them with, if they're implemented, what they can do afterwards in the troubleshooting aspect, and just trying to give some guidance regarding the whole ASR topic.
Now, in which walls did you hit?
Well, a lot of walls, but I think in general the biggest issue with everything at Microsoft and in cloud is that they try to put stuff in multiple places and not removing it, or at least, would I say, you can manage it in different places. So for example, with ASR rules, I think you can do it on 5 different ways.
Yeah.
And that's only in Intune?
Yeah, and that's only in Intune, exactly. And people, they try and they fail, and then you see all these policies come together, and you don't know why it's not working. It becomes very complex, and things in the cloud is evolving very fast. So I think most of the walls that we hit was just about configuring things in the wrong way.
Not only configuring things in the wrong way. I think from the implementation point of view, there is a lot of stuff in the documentation, but as an ITer, we most of the time just start implementing, because who reads the doc until things go wrong? And the moment that...
then you Google it.
Then you Google it, and then you actually get rerouted to the documentation. I think, as Kenny said, there are a lot of different ways from the original design in Intune how you can implement stuff, but what they are doing now with the settings catalog, it's way better now, and I think they're starting to centralize everything.
Yeah.
But regarding the ASR itself, I think the biggest conflicts that we had was settings, multiple settings with different values overlapping each other, and we are coming from a background from GPO management where the most restrictive is always winning. But in the case of ASR, this is not the way. Basically, the moment you get a conflict, your ASR rule is gone. It's not even applied anymore.
No, and the reporting around that is not the best.
Yeah.
Well, if you have
I've
MDE
seen it as customers that ASR was completely not working anymore, but Intune thought it was fine.
Yeah.
And we had to learn from Defender for Endpoint that all the ESR rules were just disabled because, there was a conflict.
Yeah, I think if you have E5 and you have MDE or the E3 with security suite, I think it's a great addition and it makes your life as an IT admin pretty easier.
Yeah, but then you also show the solution to also detect if ASR rules are applied via Intune, right?
Yeah, so there are some clever people already on the internet and Twitter who blogged about it. I think it was Joey Verlinden.
Yeah, Joey Verlinden, yeah.
Yeah, so shout out to his blog. He made
From the Netherlands.
Yeah, from the Netherlands.
Of course.
He made an interesting blog on how you can detect your ASR rules if they are being applied or not via an Intune custom compliancy. And based on that, you can already have some sort of detection to know if the rule is there, yes or no.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yep.
And ASR basically it's a Windows feature, so it's inside Windows,
Yep.
Windows 11, Windows 10, basically. So, but you configure it with a GPO, with Intune, and within Intune on different parts within Intune.
Yep.
You can configure
Yeah.
it. How hard reporting is an issue, but how hard is it to be? Wait, you said already. If I do it on different places, sometimes overlapping.
Yep.
How hard is it to do it in a correct way?
Well, it's not hard to do it in a correct way, but I think you need to have a streamlined process between your IT people. I think what happens most of the time is you have the normal sysadmins or the endpoint managers or whatever. They are configuring them in Intune, and then you get like people from the security team who are also doing stuff in Intune now, because everything in Intune is also a lot of security features are there from a management point of view. So they start creating their own profiles there, and there is no communication between the teams, and then you start getting into a messy area where you have a lot of conflicts and things are not applying anymore, and then from the sysadmin perspective, they are just looking at the configuration profile and they look at the status and it's green, so everything should work, but sometimes it's not.
Aside from that, I think also what we see a lot is, you can enable a lot of ASR rules, but there are a few specific ones that are very difficult to enable. And a lot of people in the organization, although they manage it with Microsoft Endpoint Manager,
even that configuration manager.
Oh yeah,
Microsoft
true.
Configuration Manager.
Or you do it through Intune. The biggest issue is you don't know the complete application landscape, because some finance department have some specific plugins in Excel, or last time at a customer that was SAP reporting we broke. It was some kind of reporting at the end of the month to calculate the bonuses of the management. So
that's tricky if that's
that was like a P1 immediately.
But then you also showed and learned the attendees how to work around that by using auditing instead, using enforcement directly.
I did a session with David Brook at MMS, and what he actually also made, and that's for the people who don't have enough money to buy E5, at least some visibility in a Power BI dashboard to harvest that and to make their life a bit easier to get those exclusions up and running. And we had a very good question at the end on how do you add exclusions? Do you do it in Intune, or how do you manage that properly? And actually the answer we think is a great answer is you need to create a custom detection in E5, for example, in MDE, an indicator, not a custom detection. An indicator, and that indicator is a hash-based indicator. So that will make your life a bit easier to manage it and to have your security team re-evaluate it and not set and forget.
Yep. The only thing I want to add on, if you start creating indicators, like what I always advise my customers to do is, in Intune you can have configuration profiles where you can tag devices with for MDE. A lot of customers, when they start implementing MDE and they start making their exclusions in the indicator part for the whole platform, it also means that it's applied for every device in the platform by default. So what I always advise is try to make the exception that you're making, is it maybe for a specific department like finance? If it is so, then make sure that you have like a specific device group for the finance people and only apply the exclusion to them. You just want to limit your exclusions, because if everything in the world would be great, there are no exclusions and everything would be perfectly managed. But if you have the use case where you have an exclusion, you don't want by default to enable it for the whole platform. You always want to have a subset of devices so you know that it's not being applied on everything. You never know what can happen these days.
Yeah. What about virtualization? Because I had a customer enabled ASR by default, and then
block mode.
all developers are complaining because Sun VirtualBox, VMware Workstation, and all that kind of stuff wasn't running anymore.
Yeah.
So why is that? What's happening there? Do you know that?
I guess there are too many custom executables, let's say, and files not being signed, and the developer is always hard to manage.
But no, I think I can give you a good answer on that. Microsoft has an ASR rule for trustworthiness, and I forgot it out of my heart, but you have prevalence and trusted.
Age of.
Well, I don't know it by heart, but
there is something.
Anyway, Microsoft is, signing them and approving them, but Microsoft cannot keep up the pace sometimes as well, or some vendors are not into the program or whatever. So there are some ASR rules you need to be very careful with. And this is also something we listed in our presentation, is these rules, be very careful. They look harmless, but they can do a lot of damage, at least for people that cannot work anymore.
Yeah.
So I think what we always advise is start with audit mode, have a look. And that comes down to the application landscape. Some people do not know. And what's happening with developers, the type of persona you always have, they have local admin rights, they can do whatever they want.
Yep.
And then you run in those kind of tricky things.
In reality, what happens most of the time for developers, I'm not saying it's the best approach, but most of the time they are being put in exclusion groups with their specific machines because it becomes a burden to manage.
Yeah, but on first hand, you need all the information to make a decision. Must be in an exclusion group or not? So auditing and reporting is one of the important steps there.
Yeah, it's key. Yeah, I think the E5 MDE license you add, the reporting makes it pretty critical, and that's why David also said, like, if I can, we used Maurice and Sandy's log analytics solution, extended it a bit, and then put a Power BI dashboard on top of it, and you can export that information in Excel. So even if you don't have the E5 solution, it creates that visibility you want. For those kind of people who are blind, I would say.
Yeah. On the other hand, you have one session these days. You're organizing and helping staff and so on. But you have another session with Kenneth, I guess.
Yes.
That's about
mobile application management.
Is that important?
These days it is, and I think in the Europe space we see a lot of customers who are The biggest question is always, how do we keep our mobile devices protected? Like, how do we prevent data getting leaked? And a lot of customers a few years ago, they were all like, okay, we need to enroll the device and we need to manage the device. But the last 2 years, you see a lot of changes coming. IT is like, we're managing a lot of devices. You also have HR policies. People are becoming a little bit anxious. Anxious because their device is being managed. So mobile application management is perfect for it.
I always say to my customer, a phone is something personal. Your computer, you can say, hey, Frans, I forgot my computer. Hey, Frans, take mine. I don't mind. But you won't do that with your phone.
Never.
Yeah,
of course,
exactly.
there are always scenarios where you need
of course.
MDM, but I think the mass majority, and for sure, bring your own devices and protect you without enrollment.
But a lot of people see that device as something personal, and if you're going to invade that space from a company perspective, MAM is fairly transparent. But if you're going to enroll, it's you have this box where what you can see, what you can't see. But users are really, I would say, not trusting the organization as such, and you have those unions, and what can you see, and it's a lot of work, extra work, while MAM is actually really easy to set up and to comply with your security, data loss policies.
And for sure the solution of Microsoft is awesome because of the multi-identity support in for instance, Outlook, your personal account next to the business account. If you leave the company, only the business part is removed and not all your personal mails again, and your app keeps on working instead of when your MDM device.
And the thing that is funny as well is if you enroll a device and you don't have like Apple device enrollment manager. With MAM, you can say if the device gets stolen, great. But also if the user leaves the company, you disable the account and the data is gone. You don't need to think, you don't need to worry, and your security department can get a clear list of if the data is really removed. So from a compliance perspective, that's just great.
And then we discussed yesterday with was it Sandy about
Sengi
about the MAM tunnel. Tunnel for MAM, and that's an awesome solution if you want to also publish internal resources on MAM-only devices. So.
But not only with Sengi. In the past, we had a recording with the crew in the Netherlands. What you see, the investment that Microsoft is doing at the moment for bring your own and mobile application management, not only mobile, but also for Windows and Mac. The next steps that we'll take in there, that bring us, that gives us a huge step forward to bring your own devices within a company more and more in a convenient way. Nowadays we can do it, but it's still a lack of features that we still need that.
But also the world is a bit changing. I mean, if you hire somebody today that comes off to school, he wants his own device. He wants to work on what he likes to work, and you can enforce him maybe with giving him a Windows device. But if he's used only to use Mac, why would you drop his productivity by giving him a laptop that he's not used to? So I think it's very important you get these features in and you give this kind of HR flexibility to let people use what they want, but in a secure and a safe manner.
Yep. That's what it is. Are there specific topics regarding MAM that you mention in the next session that we
we will be, in general, we will be going over the traditional MAM policies, let's say, for iOS and Android, give people some advice, guidance from what we have learned over the years. But since Microsoft also, I think it's GA this week, the MAM for Windows or MAM for Edge, how you want to call it.
Yeah, it was last week,
Yeah. So it's now it's now globally available. A lot of people are not using it yet or haven't tested, so we want to show them already in one of the demos as well on how you can configure MAM for Windows and try to get people started with it.
Cool.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. Because that's what I was trying to say. Because bring your own is hard on Windows nowadays, and with that, it's taking a bigger step.
Microsoft tried a lot of DLP solutions for Windows.
There are still some additional things that you will need to do at the moment with if you implement MAM for Windows, because you probably still want to have some conditional access rules blocking the fat stack clients of Outlook and Teams from working, or maybe OneDrive syncing.
Yeah.
But if you start looking how Microsoft is creating the new Outlook and the team, everything is WebView 2, or how do you say it? So maybe one day they will have MAM policies applying for those fat stack clients as well.
You mean that progressive apps?
Yeah, but it's on Teams, it's on Outlook. Other apps will follow, probably. I don't know, but...
No, that's the biggest challenge we have internally. We all try to eat the own dog food.
Yeah.
And Kim is working a lot on his home PC, and his personal device, and now
more
we
productive.
we try to block everything, but today you cannot do it with Teams, so that's a bit cumbersome. But I think Microsoft is always coming in 3 versions. So the first one will be a bit look and feel test. They get a lot of feedback, then they will make a better version. And by the time they have version 3, I think it's a really good solution. I think that's also a good thing, and you see that also in the Intune team itself. They didn't do a lot in the past with Mac and all these other flavors. They're putting a lot of investment in it, and you see that they're following the market and really putting effort into it. And that's good to see. It's what I like to see. And I think that's what also customers like to see.
Yeah, and if we look at mobiles, you will look into iOS and Android.
Yep.
What are the biggest differences between them regarding to mobile application management?
Ooh, that's a good question. Apart from the broker app,
company portal versus
company portal versus authenticator.
But nowadays we have web single sign-on.
Yeah. Well, I think there are some. I think 80% is overlapping stuff between Android and iOS. I think in the Android policies you have some specifics that you can do because you can use multiple keyboards and everything. And I think also in the conditional launch you have more options there as well. I know that they discontinued the APIs,
Google Safety Net,
the Google Safety Net. But from what I heard in the keynote, they're working now together with Microsoft. They said it yesterday that they were working together with Samsung, doing some other hardware backend stuff.
For the device attestation with Knox.
Yeah, but on the other hand, partnering with an Apple, with Google, with Samsung, with every other bigger player in the market regarding mobiles, they are really working closely together to get the stuff done for an end user.
But I think you see a lot of iOS devices in enterprise world just because they're easy to manage, not a lot of flavors. And what you see is Android typically is in those barcode scanners in hospitals, that kind of stuff.
Too many devices.
Yeah.
But that being said, and of Google is also improving. Like the last 4 or 5 years, they with Google Enterprise with their program, they really improved. Yeah. Also the supportability.
For enterprise management, definitely.
Yes. Yeah.
But also, was it yesterday? I don't know which session I saw, is about the capability to manage these meeting client devices.
Teams rooms.
Yes, team room devices, which are basically running on Android most of the time, but don't have this Google Play Store and stuff. And now you can also push applications to it, which is nice.
Yeah, definitely. So it will be expanding also in the next year, months, whatever.
Yeah.
First ma'am.
Yeah.
In an hour or two.
An hour and a half, I think.
So you need to prepare for that. Thanks for being here, talking about this cool stuff, and having you guys on the event, and probably meet up later on, and probably we can do something in Belgium later on with
or in the Netherlands.
Yeah,
we invite them back again.
Yeah.
Let's
we
do
always invite them.
Thanks for the invite, Frans.
It was a pleasure to be here.
And Peter.
Okay, thank you.